Every business should have access to high-speed internet, no matter where they are. But getting fast speeds in rural Canada hasn't always been easy, which meant less reliability and connectivity. But not any longer. ExploreNet Enterprise Solutions has the network to help you do business virtually anywhere in Canada. With our extensive fiber, fixed wireless, and next-generation satellites, we're bringing the high speeds of the big city to small towns, tiny towns, and no towns. ExploreNet Enterprise Solutions gives you the kind of high-speed internet your business can rely on, so you can stay productive and stay connected across single and multiple locations. Plus, with our 24/7 dedicated support centers and coast-to-coast dealer network, help is never far away, whether it's Dave in Portage-la Prairie.
Hey, this is Dave.
Or Katie in Ontario.
Hi.
No matter your business size or location, get connected with ExploreNet Enterprise Solutions.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to this morning's Zoom webinar presented by the Chamber of Commerce for Greater Moncton. My name is Rebecca Preston. I'm the Director of Communications and Policy at the Chamber. We are very pleased to have Mike Stock, Director of Carrier Relations at ExploreNet Enterprise Solutions, who will talk about 5G and what it means for your business. Firstly, I would like to start out by thanking ExploreNet Enterprise Solutions for being our sponsoring partner for this new series that we've called Chamber College. At this point, I would like to introduce Anne-Marie Martel, Marketing Specialist, to say a few words.
Hi, Rebecca. Thank you. We're very excited to be partnering with the Chamber of Commerce for Greater Moncton for sponsoring the Chamber College series. We've learned a lot and we're excited to continue on learning from these great sessions. And we're also very excited to be presenting today. So thank you again.
Thanks, Anne-Marie. I also want to remind everyone that we will have a Q&A session at the end of the presentation, and you can pose your questions at any time via the chat button at the bottom of the screen. Just type in your question and we will pose as many as we can at the end of the presentation. So now, Mike Stock is a member of the ExploreNet Enterprise Solutions leadership team as Director of Carrier Services, focusing on enterprise connectivity in both rural and urban markets across Canada. Mike trains, manages, and mentors the carrier service and pre-sales engineering teams. As a certified sales professional and sales leader in the telecommunications industry for over 15 years, Mike has been instrumental in developing new relationships with vendors and suppliers to bring new connectivity technology to organizations. Since 2020, Mike has served as board member for the British Columbia Broadband Association. So with that, I will turn the virtual podium over to Mike to lead today's discussion. Mike.
Thanks, Rebecca, for the intro. Nice to meet everyone. Thanks for having me. And before I get started, I'm not an Edmonton Oilers fan, regardless of what my background says, just supporting the last Canadian team in the playoffs. So, so I've been in telco for about 20 years, mostly in sales. This presentation is not too technical. If you have any questions about anything internet related, even other than 5G at the end of the call, don't hesitate to ask, and I can share my contact info with everyone on the call. And with that, I will start my presentation. Second. So, presentation for you guys as the Chamber College. So today we're going to talk about quickly who ExploreNet is, some of the differences in 5G technology, the current state of connectivity, how 5G will impact businesses, and then implementing 5G. Who we are. I'm pretty sure most of you have heard of ExploreNet, being an Atlantic Canadian started company. We like to start off all of our presentations sharing our core values. So accountability, integrity, customer focus, teamwork, and innovation. So who we are. One of the big differences that I want to ensure everyone is aware of on the call is there's two divisions to Xplornet. There's the residential side of the business, and then there is the business enterprise side of the business. So they act independent of each other. So this presentation is from the enterprise business side, so not the residential side. So there are those two main portions of the company. So the current state. So we're facilities-based broadband network provider across all of Canada. And what that means to you and why that's important to you, facilities-based means we own our own network. So if you are looking for services off of our network, we are not reselling you someone else. So that's why that's important. One of the other big differentiators between Xplornet and all other large telcos across Canada is that we have our own fiber network, our own wireless network, and our own satellite network. So we've got three types of service that we can provide all businesses. Currently, we've got about 100,000 residential subscribers across Canada, 10,000 towers across Canada. And on the business side, we support about 6,500 businesses across Canada. So the map in the top right-hand corner, the little blue dots, those show where our customers are located. And it shows you how vast our network is. So some of the features and benefits, as mentioned, connectivity. Our network is built with fiber backbones, which is important because it makes it a lot more reliable and scalable solution. And speaking to scalability, we grow with your business, providing speeds and data options. So for example, you could start off with a smaller package that meets your current needs today. And then as your business needs change, and you want to scale up and involve more technology or larger applications that use bandwidth, that's something we can do with you. And reliability, we've got a redundant core network. So if one of our connections goes down on our core network, we've got built-in backups. We also do partner with national carriers all across Canada as well. So that's a little bit about Xplornet. So 5G technology. So most recently, over the last 3 decades, rapid growth was marked in the field of wireless communications in regards to the switch from 1G to 4G. The primary purpose behind this research was the requirements of high bandwidth and very low latency. 5G provides a high data rate, improved quality of service, low latency, high coverage, high reliability, and economically affordable services. 5G delivers services in 3 categories: extreme mobile broadband, or the EMBB. This is a non-standalone architecture that offers high-speed internet connectivity, greater bandwidth, moderate latency, ultra HD streaming videos, virtual reality and augmented reality, and many more. So that would be something that your standard users would use, not doing anything crazy on the internet. Residential users would use it too. So if your needs aren't extreme, that is the flavor of 5G most likely suited for you. The massive machine type communication provides long range and broadband machine type communication at a very cost-effective price with less power consumption. This also brings a high data rate service, lower power, extended coverage via less device complexity through mobile carriers for IoT applications. So a good example for that could be gas meters in your cities. Those could all be connected via 5G. So think of a lot of devices on one network. And then the last one, which is the exciting one, is the ultra-reliable low latency communication. So this offers low latency, ultra-high reliability, rich quality of service, which is not possible with traditional mobile network architecture. And some examples of what this is would include on-demand real-time interaction, such as remote surgery, vehicle-to-vehicle communication, Industry 4.0 smart grids, and intelligent transport systems. So that's the flavor of 5G that I like to refer to as Tony Stark technology. So everything that you watch in the Avenger movies, that flavor of 5G is what will support that stuff moving forward in the future, which is pretty exciting. So next slides, the comparison of 5G to current fixed wireless. So 1G, first generation, introduced in the late 70s, was designed for voice communication, and it was terrible. It had a maximum speed of 2.4 kilobits per second, which is terrible. 2G, so second generation, was introduced in the late 80s. It increased speeds to 64 kilobits per second, so a big jump in speed. There's also variation in the 80s, 2.5G, and this is where it expanded the speeds all the way up to 144 kilobits per second. And that's where you had enough speed where you could start web browsing, sending emails, and then if you're very patient, sending pictures and downloading movies would take days and days. Not sure if any of you guys remember that. 3G, the third generation, was introduced in the late 90s. It increased data speeds from 144 kilobits per second to 2 megabits per second. Or sorry, 144 kilobytes per second to 2 megabits per second. It's a big difference, which provided better web browsing, some video conferencing, large size emails, and integrated multimedia support, faster audio and video data transmission. 4G, introduced in the 2000s, increased speeds from 100 megabits to 1 gigabit per second, used different technology like WiMAX, LTE, and Wi-Fi supported. Provides a service of cloud computing along with a higher security with a better battery life. The drawback for the 4G is that it needs a complex hardware and wasn't easy to implement, which is why it took a while for telcos to roll it out because it was very expensive to overhaul their networks. And finally, 5G. So fifth generation, introduced in 2020. And the main motivation for 5G technology is the web, better capacity and speed. 5G provides data broadcast speeds in gigabits per second, not megabits per second. So 1 gigabit is 1,000 megabits. So it supports huge memory with support of HD quality video data transmissions with interactive multimedia support, expected to provide support for the Internet of Things. Advantages of 5G broadband. Faster data rates, 10-fold increase in user experience data rates, including a 20-fold increase in peak data rates. Faster data rates are needed to support richer interactive multimedia applications, including streaming higher resolution video, and to support faster and more robust content access. Whereas 4G LTE offers data rates that may be in the tens of megabits per second range today. The goal for today is to support data rates in the hundreds of megabits or more. Increasing the speed of mobile broadband services and the capacity of wireless access networks is necessary just to support the surging traffic associated with streaming mobile video. Reduced latency. 10-fold reduction in latency from today's norms. So depending on the service you're at, wireless services, you can get latencies close to 100 milliseconds, This will bring it down to sub 1 millisecond latency. So that's very important because reduced latency is needed for the real-time interactivity. And the good example for that, again, would be remote diagnostic surgeries and things like that. Enhanced mobility. This is also known as the extreme mobile broadband. It's an extension of services first enabled by 4G networks that allows for a high data rate across a wide coverage area. It will provide a greater capacity necessary to support peak data rates, both for large crowds and for end users who are on the move. Massively increased connection density. Multiple devices per user are the norm, which then drives the increase in the aggregate number of devices that need to be connected via the networks. With IoT, the connection density in any geolocation may increase substantially. So just think of 5-6 years ago, typically in a home or business, you would only have cell phones. Now you've got smart lights, smart TVs, smart thermostats. So the amount of connected devices is only growing. And this is needed to, 5G is needed to support that. Improve spectral and energy efficiency. So 3-fold improvement in spectral efficiency and 100-fold improvement in energy efficiency. So spectrum and power are 2 critical inputs that are necessary for wireless devices to operate. It's also going to be a key enabler for low carbon future and a low carbon economy. We've already seen the benefits of digitalization this year. Fewer commutes to the work and more flexible work. In fact, digital technology can cut business flights by 50%. So it has a big impact. On a larger scale, capabilities like IoT and machine learning means we can optimize existing physical infrastructure and therefore reduce the need for more or bigger infrastructure in the future. Additional benefits of 5G. 5G will improve the capacity and capabilities to enhance economic efficiencies. It will allow us to collect, analyze, share, and act upon information. It will enable real-time intelligence and increase control of complex production systems with assistance of sensors and automation. Augmented reality can enhance adaptability, flexibility, and responsiveness. And existing mobile broadband applications and services will work better with higher resolution, more stable performance, and easier portability and mobility across devices and usage environments. So 5G broadband versus 5G mobile. This is something that in the telco industry we have to explain a lot, because the majority of the time when you're talking to end users, most of them think 5G and they think mobility because it's on their cell phone. So there's a big difference with this 5G. So 5G broadband is a form of mobile broadband. It works by incorporating 5G technology into a Wi-Fi hub rather than a smartphone. 5G broadband works in a much the same way as a 5G smartphone, in that it connects to the internet via a device with a 5G SIM card. However, rather than a mobile phone, the 5G SIM card is in a router, which then sends out a Wi-Fi signal for all of your devices to connect to at once. So 5G essentially works on the same airwaves as 4G internet, but on much higher frequencies. This means it can transmit more data in shorter period of time, and it can improve or provide a much faster internet connection as a result. While a mobile network and a wireless network perform similar functions, they are completely different networks. A mobile network is commonly described as a physical device that can be taken anywhere, like your cell phone. It is composed of a battery to provide power and must have some type of mobile network connectivity in order for the device to operate, to send and receive data without having to attach the device to a hardware base. Broadband network, on the other hand, is a transmission of high-quality data of wide bandwidth. In its simplest form, it is a high-speed internet connection that is always on. Broadband connections include Wi-Fi, DSLs, fiber, and satellites. So broadband, higher capacity again. Network capacity is the maximum amount of data that can be reliably transferred between different locations over a network. The higher data transfer capacity. Network data transfer is a process of sending or receiving files or data over a local or global network. It is a highly important concept in modern business networking, with high data transfer rates allowing networks to be used for complex tasks such as online streaming. It uses, or midband spectrum, Midband 5G uses microwaves of 2.3 to 4.7 gigahertz, which is a little technical. What it means is it just allows for higher speeds. Mobile. There's usually a data cap on the mobility side. Service provider imposed limit on the amount of data transfer by a user account at a specified level of throughput over a given time period for a specific fee. I'm sure you're all familiar with it. The low band spectrum. The low band spectrum is also known as the coverage layer. Low band refers to frequencies below 1 gigahertz used to roll out substantial 5G coverage as quick as possible. So the lower the gigahertz, the further away the signal goes. And the further away the signal goes, the weaker it goes. Low band cell site can cover hundreds of square miles and deliver a download data rates from 30 to 75 megabits per second, ideal for uses like streaming HD video. Because low band signals easily pass through buildings, they can offer solid coverage indoors and outdoors and are an effective way to connect parts of rural Canada where even fixed broadband speeds don't always meet the national benchmarks. I'd like to quickly go over a couple slides on security because with the increased speeds and reliance on the network, security is going to become even a bigger issue moving forward for business. So the top cyber threats for companies, phishing attacks. Phishing is one of the oldest and most widely used tactics among cyber criminals. While most people are aware of the way phishing works, many don't realize how advanced the methods have become. Within commercial enterprises, phishing emails most often appear to come from within the company or from an organization likely to do business with the company. Once threat actors have access to the network of an organization, they can often move invisibly through the network until they gain access to information that will allow them to complete an attack. And a good example that I have for this is I have a friend who works with a real estate company in Winnipeg, and he got an email from what he thought was the owner of the company saying, we are going to be donating $5,000 towards this charity. Please send the money to this account. And it looked like it came from that person's email account, and it was a phishing attack, and they were out the money, unfortunately. So they're becoming pretty smart in how they do the phishing now. Ransomware, I'm sure you've all heard of ransomware. As threat actors moved away from the sale of sensitive and financial information as a primary reason for cybercrime, the value of ransomware became evident. Ransomware is a type of malware that encrypts files on a network and makes them unusable until the demands of hackers are met. These threat actors may threaten to sell or leak sensitive data if the ransom is not paid. Some of the more recent cases that come to mind, the University of Calgary had a ransomware attack where someone held all of their student records captive. And then in Winnipeg, I think it was Winnipeg, there was a hospital that had a ransomware attack, and it held all of the patients' records until the ransom was paid. So it happens. Internal breaches. While the majority of cyber attacks are the work of external actors, nearly 30% of attacks come from employees, which is staggering, or other personnel with access to the company. As with external hackers, the reasons for these attacks are often financially motivated. However, some employees or former employees launch attacks against a company out of anger or dissatisfaction. Internal threat actors don't need to gain access to a network. Instead, they can use their existing knowledge or credentials to reach sensitive data. IP theft, intellectual property theft. As cyber attackers learn new ways to enter a network without detection and discreetly move laterally throughout the system, the dangers of potential IP theft grow. Hackers can quietly mine the information they need over time and even exit the system without detection. This can lead to data that is stolen or altered without detection until your company's trade secrets are used elsewhere. IP theft is especially important in the manufacturing sector because your company's intellectual property is what differentiates you from your competition. Still, information used to run your company or create your products can be difficult to protect. After all, employees must have access to vital information to complete daily tasks. Supply chain attacks. So this became even more prevalent during COVID. So supply chain attacks interrupt one link within an organization's supply chain process to cause a massive disruption that can affect thousands of people. With a variety of vulnerable endpoints, hackers can gain access to major companies through partners and suppliers. The nation-state attacks, perhaps some of the most dreaded cyber attacks that exist today. Nation-state attacks are cyber attacks carried out by the governments or threat actors employed by the government of another country. The motivation for these attacks varies widely and can range from monetary value to intellectual property theft of defense weapons. Hackers look for any data that will benefit their country's economy and strengthen both key business and military strategies. Nation-state hackers have been known to attack government agencies, critical infrastructure, and virtually any industry known to hold sensitive information. So obviously, not the two largest threats, the two most well-known threats in most recent history, Russia and China, especially with the decision from the government to ban the Huawei and the ZTE products from the Canadian marketplace. Preventing cyber attacks with 5G. So hackers have used the pandemic as an opportunity for increased cyber attacks. 5G technology provides more reliable and secure broadband connections. Fixed wireless and LTE routers provide a great alternative to unsecured Wi-Fi networks that carry more user traffic. And it's easier for IT administrators to configure, deploy, and maintain secure connections by delivering dedicated broadband connections through integrated cloud management applications. The impact of 5G on business. So how will business change with 5G? The benefits of 5G go beyond the faster network speeds. Its coverage provides an opportunity for business to truly embrace digital transformation at scale. 4G already ushered in an era of mass video adoption on social networks, ride sharing, and other new use cases and business models born out of the fast network speeds. 5G also has the potential to completely change industries and businesses. So examples of how businesses will be changed because of 5G technology. Communication. 5G will fundamentally change how businesses communicate with customers. It will permit HD videos, product demonstrations, and a greater interactive environment. IoT systems will be citywide in coverage. 5G will open more opportunities for businesses to use the IoT, allowing developers to unite separate devices and sensors into one system. It will make businesses have to become more agile. 5G will create the need for higher levels of adaptability in business. Companies will need to be able to launch new services and products quickly. 5G will provide plenty of new products and services for consumers. Information security will be even more important. 5G brings stronger and faster and more reliable services, lower latency, less power usage, and the ability to carry more devices than 4G. All of this will impact the security posture of businesses and individual networks. Apps will be revamped to capitalize on 5G. When the 4G networks and the 4G phones met, a digital economy was created. Uber, Netflix, Skip the Dishes, DoorDash, none of those would exist today without 4G. With 5G allowing for up to 100 times more speed, app companies and app designers will wonder what they can do now that they couldn't do before. Video streaming will be enhanced. Consumers can expect to see high-resolution video, augmented reality, and virtual reality content. Watching live sports broadcasts could become even more common than it already is. Real-time application of collected data will be enabled. With 5G, the amount of data that can be collected and aggregated will be very high. This could allow for real-time diagnosis and mitigation of health conditions, farming optimizations, autonomous vehicle tracking, and trafficking city service monitoring. One of the cool things that I saw, I was on a tour in Guelph, Ontario, of a manufacturing facility, and one of the vendors was using 5G, and they had Google glasses on, an unskilled laborer, and on the other end of the Google glasses was the engineering repair technician, who manually walked him through what buttons to press, levers to change, to automatically remote diagnostically fix things without having to roll a truck, which ended up saving hundreds of dollars just in the service call, but increased uptime for the machines as well. So it was pretty neat to see. So there's a lot of cool applications that are going to be coming down the pipe. So how different industries are utilizing 5G. These are just three examples: healthcare, field ops, and agriculture. So healthcare, many post-surgery clients might normally spend days or weeks in the hospital recovering. However, thanks to 24/7 monitoring via 5G-enabled wearables, patients could get the immediate care they need in a professional setting, but return home sooner. For patients in need of in-home care, traveling nurses could also benefit from 5G technology to onboard patients, review and submit subscriptions, and interact with doctors and other specialists via video conference. In the longer term, 5G will be a key driver in enhancing medical research and utilizing data and artificial intelligence in diagnostics and testing. This will enable healthcare researchers and providers to advance care by recognizing trends and anomalies more quickly, and then treat patients before they become seriously ill. For field operations, again, technicians specializing in oil and gas or wind power infrastructure maintenance, or tradespeople across industries like electricians, carpenters, and plumbers. Plenty of jobs take place in rural areas. So again, instead of, if you were living in rural Canada, instead of having to have a technician drive out to your home or your business that is 2 hours away, this is something they could do instantaneously. In situations where additional guidance is needed or in-depth discussions with headquarters are needed, 5G technology can offer a lifeline, potentially saving hours or even days of progress by enabling real-time collaboration and access to information on site. So again, the example of the Google glasses and the engineer helping the laborer fix a machine. Agriculture. The wild world of farming could benefit from 5G in many, many ways. Many of these ways originating from using raw data to help farming techniques more efficient and cost effective. Though farmers can employ 4G today to monitor crops and soil conditions in real-time data, 5G will make this practice faster and available in more areas, allowing more farms, even some smaller ones, to improve output, increase profit margins, and stay competitive. Experimental technologies like 5G-enabled drone deployments will become more economical and available for agricultural use cases. So Canada and North America as a whole are behind the times in rolling out 5G. So in Europe, there's already farmers that are using drones that can fly over their fields, spot what a weed looks like with their camera, and apply a specific pesticide to that specific area, which saves a lot of money, because historically what they would do is they would see a weed and then they would spray the whole field. So there's going to be lots of savings and things like that moving forward for farmers. Implementing 5G into your business. So including 5G in the budget. Like all new technologies, 5G hardware will be more expensive than the existing 4G hardware. Businesses will need 5G ready equipment ready to go. Improving data analytics. 5G will facilitate advances in AI, automation, and IoT, and with these advances come more data. How a company collects, stores, and uses that data will be critical to success. And investment in analytic tools will be essential. Offering 5G education. Teams cannot make the most of this new technology if they don't understand what it is and what potential it offers. 5G education can help businesses understand how the network's benefits can support business goals, improve customer experience, and drive growth. Preparing for the wave of 5G automation for AI. So faster speeds and lower latency will lead to an influx of new automation and AI technologies. Businesses will rely on mobile networks more than ever, and will need to work with IT specialists to redesign and streamline core operations. Strategizing the use of 5G. As we all know, technology is constantly evolving. However, today's 5G technology will eventually become limited compared to those in the future. Businesses must capitalize on the benefits of 5G and make the most of it not only presently, but in the future as well. How does 5G work? So most 5G operators will integrate 5G networks and existing 4G networks to provide continuous connection. A mobile network has two main components, the radio access network and the core network. The radio access network consists of various types of facilities, including small cells, towers, masts, and dedicated in-building and home systems that connect mobile users and wireless devices to the main core network. The core network is the mobile exchange and data network that manages all the mobile voice, data, and internet connections. For 5G, the core network is being redesigned to better integrate with the internet and cloud-based services, and also includes distributed servers across the network, improving response times and also reducing latency. When a 5G connection is established, the device will connect to both the 4G network to provide the control signaling and to the 5G network to help provide the fast data connection by adding to the existing 4G capacity. Where there is limited 5G coverage, the data is carried on the 4G network, providing the continuous connection. Essentially, with this design, the 5G network is complementing the existing 4G network. The future of 5G. There's currently a slower deployment of 5G technology in Canada and the United States compared to Europe, the Middle East, and Asia. Currently in North America as a whole, there are 14 live 5G networks in total. ExploreNet is one of them. And luckily for Atlantic Canada, there's another carrier called Eastlink. I'm sure you're all aware of. They're one of the second providers. So Atlantic Canada has the fortune of having two 5G ready carriers in their backyard. That is it for my presentation. I hope everyone stayed awake. And if not, I don't blame you. If I'm having trouble sleeping, I read through some technology papers and it puts me right out. So with that, Rebecca, I'll pass it back to you.
Okay, thank you, Mike. Now it's time for the Q&A. Please click on the chat button if you would like to pose a question to the presenter. Il est maintenant temps pour les questions et réponses. Donc, veuillez cliquer sur le bouton clavardage si vous souhaitez poser une question au présentateur. I'm going to give people a minute here. I'm going to check the questions. So first question, Scott. We have many dead zones throughout our region and the province when it comes to service, whether mobile or broadband. So with the continued rollout of the 5G technology, what type of difference can these places expect to see?
Well, like all 5G, it is faster speeds. So one of the challenges, and it'll also piggyback on the current 4G network, but 5G, the big things for 5G, faster speeds, like 10 times faster, which is great for users, and then the latency. Those are the two biggest changes. And I know ExploreNet's already starting to roll out 5G in Atlantic Canada, as well as fiber builds. But the big thing will be once the 5G network is up and running, it'll piggyback on and enhance the current 4G network. And then the other benefit is with the 4G network, that infrastructure is already in place. So one of the challenges when the 4G networks were installed years ago is you had to get lease agreements with landowners and things like that. So it was a little bit slower. All of that's already taken place. So it should be a faster rollout than what you guys have seen in the past.
Understood. On the rollout side, I just want to specify, so the regions who already have maybe not much service or not access to service, those regions, it might not change much because we're using the same infrastructure that we had.
Yeah, well, so 2 points to that. It operates on a different frequency, so it could improve services of existing.
Okay.
The other bigger benefit, and it's not specifically related to 5G, is the government of Canada announced funding for national broadband to be 50 down, 10 up for all of Canada. So there's dozens of builds that are ongoing that should be filling in kind of the dead zones within rural Canada, because that was the mandate of that funding from the Trudeau government.
Yes, the Chamber has been lobbying for this for years.
Yeah.
So we have another question. Which of the top cybersecurity threats does 5G guarantee protection from or protect from the most?
It doesn't really protect against anything. It's just another gateway to get to the internet. So you are still going to need to use all of the security devices that you currently have. The thought with 5G coming on and having more speed and more access is that cyber attacks and all that will become more prevalent in the future, meaning there'll be more of them, and I'm sure you're starting to see lots of internet security companies popping up and lots of companies reselling security services because it's a real threat moving forward. ExploreNet is choosing instead to focus on connectivity instead of overextending their reach, and we're allowing the companies that are dedicated at security to handle network security and things like that. And we'll partner with companies, but it's not something that we're looking at doing ourselves.
Okay, thank you. So I'm just going to let everybody know that we have one more question. If you want to send another one, there is still absolutely time for that. But in the meantime, I'm going to read the last one that I have here, so everyone can send your questions in now if you have some. So the third question, when can business expect to have access to full 5G in Greater Moncton? And how long might it take until our community is fully integrated onto 5G network?
Yeah, I'd love to tell you next week, but being in sales, I don't have access to that information. It's something I can follow up with on our construction side and relay that information back to you, Rebecca, to share with the membership.
Great, thank you.
Sorry, I don't have a better answer because I know it's a need and businesses are anxiously waiting for it. But yeah, I don't want to give you any false hope. So I'll look into it, Rebecca, and share the answer with you.
Thank you. Well, some incredible advances in AI and for business. There's a lot of potential there. So thanks, Mike, for that presentation. I'm looking here for questions before I go on. There are no new questions. So I really want to thank you, Mike, for sharing your knowledge with us today. We have several events that are coming up in the coming weeks and months, so we would like to invite our members to check out the website for an updated calendar of all of our events. We will take advantage also of this moment to remind you that the Business Excellence Awards nominations are now open. You can nominate yourselves or others, and we thank you for the nominations, and we can't wait for the 2022 edition. We'd like to thank everyone for attending today. Thank our presenter today, as well as the partner. And have a good day, everyone. Thank you for being here today. Bonne journée à tous. Merci d'être là avec nous.